Good evening and welcome to Soapbox Tonight. Well, Thanksgiving's over, the mashed potatoes have been scraped, the relatives have been stuffed, and we all gave thanks. But if you tried to go somewhere over the holiday, well, the highways, airports, and the train stations all collectively thought, you know what would be fun? Total chaos. Then the universe chimed in and said, here, hold my snowplow. That's right, people were slammed by early winter snowstorms across the Midwest, especially around the Great Lakes and big hubs like Chicago O'Hare International Airport. More than 8 inches of snow in a single day. That's the single biggest November snowfall on record. Planes were grounded, runways iced over, and travelers trapped in concourses, or worse, stranded on tar mats while the holiday gravy in the overhead bin turned into icy regret. Flights were canceled by the thousands, delays stretched into hours and then days. Hordes of people who flew in for turkey and pies were greeted by snowplows, de-icing trucks, and the kind of chaos that makes family squabbles seem downright serene. Meanwhile, roads were no better, turning into skating rinks. Interstate pileups, cars sliding off of ramps, and travelers stuck between Denver and Des Moines, wondering if the gray November sky was a bad omen or just the meteorologist's version of cosmic gotcha. Yet here's the miracle. Somehow, almost everyone made it to their turkey, or tofu turkey, or whatever their grateful feast of choice was. And that is beautiful. It's actually miraculous, because no matter how absurd it gets, the clogged freeways, the snow-covered runways, the holiday weekend nightmares, people made it. Cheers to that. And yes, in the grand tradition of thankfulness, this year's Thanksgiving parades went off without incident. No childhood icons stabbed in front of millions of wild-eyed 6-year-olds like used to happen back during the dark days of the 90s. So whether you were slipping off an icy off-ramp, wandering airport hallways, or quietly laughing at siblings you can't stand for another 10 minutes, congratulations! You survived Thanksgiving 2025. And somehow the absurdity of it all, well, it makes it kind of wonderful. And now let's pivot from snow and mashed potatoes into something just as wild but slightly more digital. Over the holiday weekend, I ran into a YouTube comment that stopped me in my tracks, and, well, I'd like to talk about that. You see, I find it kind of hilarious, kind of terrifying, and completely revealing about how some people think when you read their comments. So get this. According to this one commenter, apparently a car accident can be a year later, and robbery can magically create. And wait for it, yes, even your dog can murder. Yes, your own pet. According to this commenter, murder isn't about personal motives at all. It's basically whatever you feel like it is. Now, I don't know about you, but this kind of logic made me clutch my coffee a little tighter. Let's break it down. Because laws still matter, despite what the internet wants you to believe. Accidents are not murder. A real unforeseen traffic accident, well, that's tragic, but it's not murder. You could call it manslaughter or homicide under certain circumstances, but let's not collapse categories. Secondly, animals, dogs, cats, llamas, none of them can commit murder, because murder requires human intent. Sorry, Fluffy, you're off the hook. Finally, robberies, yes, a murder occur during a robbery, but that doesn't magically make every theft a murder. Intent matters. Circumstance matters. Agency matters. This is Western civilization. We have laws. They are built around reason, structure, and clarity, not whatever narrative makes a viral headline. Here's where the fun begins. Pop culture loves this stuff. Drama, shock, emotional logic, viral morality. It doesn't matter if it makes any sense. It only matters if it feels right. So someone reads a story about a robbery gone wrong, their brain says, dangerous. That's the kind of reasoning that collapses categories. It confuses narratives for truth. Exactly why social media is filled with people repeating the latest emotional. And let's not leave it there, because the way that we think about responsibility. Think about Aristotle. He said, know your categories. Don't confuse accidents with murder. Thomas Aquinas, murder, choice, moral responsibility. And finally, for those of us who are clarity, observation, and presence. Don't be swayed by illusions. See things as they actually are. Here's the lesson for all of us. Emotional, sensational thinking is fun, but it's dangerous if it starts replacing reason. Reality does not care about virality. Law does not care about outrage. And truth? Well, truth is not negotiable. So what should be the takeaway here? Simple. In the West, we still have courts. We still have lawyers. We still have reason. We have a civilization of law and order, not a civilization of pop culture sensationalism. Maybe next time someone tells you your dog committed murder, an accident automatically equals homicide, you can smile, shake your head, and remember, some things still require thinking before believing. That, my friends, is a radical act in today's comment sections. Jumping from the chaos of the comment sections to the real world chaos, political chaos, because sometimes the absurdity isn't just online, it's in the halls of power. So here we go again. If you've been following the show or reading my Substack, and if you haven't, shame on you. You already know I've been sounding the air raid siren about the coordinated effort by America's Democratic Socialists to stack local offices like they're playing political Jenga. First, the small college towns, then the mid-sized metro councils, then boom, New York City. And now, Washington, D.C. is officially the next domino. A self-described Democratic Socialist has launched a full-scale bid for mayor of the nation's capital. Not a city council seat, not a symbolic position, but the office that runs the city where Congress sits, where federal agencies operate, where the entire national media ecosystem breathes in and out. This is not random. This is not spontaneous. This did not just happen. This is the logical next step in a strategy that has been openly discussed by the movement's own organizers for nearly a decade. Take power where turnout is low, spend cycles building machinery, push into high-profile cities, create model socialist municipalities. They already have New York City, now they want Washington. And if you were designing a plan to reshape American politics from the ground up, this is exactly where you would go next. But here's the part that should bother every sane person between the Potomac and the Anacostia. A socialist mayor in D.C. wouldn't just affect D.C. It would affect national policy, national media narratives, and federal-local interactions. Every federal agency sits in that jurisdiction. Every national reporter lives in that jurisdiction. Every think tank, every lobbyist, every congressional delegate staffers, they all live under D.C.'s mayor. You change that mayor, you change the city. And when you change the city that governs the capital, you inevitably change the country. So this is your call to action. I don't care if you prefer candidates that are moderate, liberal, center-left, center-right. It does not matter. The point is, if you do not want a socialist, governing the capital of the United States. Now is the time to show up. Not next year, not closer to the election, not after the debates. Now. Show up to campaign events. Now. Volunteer. Now. Door knock. Now. Phone bank. Now. Share information. Now. Tell your friends who live in D.C. Now. Tell your coworkers. Now. Tell your Uber driver who lives across the district line. Now. Because we already watched this happen when people shrugged and said, well, surely New York won't actually elect a socialist mayor. Yeah, how'd that work out? Were you not paying attention to what goes on in New York? The playbook is clear. The network is in place. The messaging is polished. And unless the rest of the electorate wakes up, awake, note hashtag awake, DC will fall the same way New York did. Quietly, slowly, and then all at once. This is not fear-mongering. It's math, momentum, and political machinery. So if you care about the direction of the capital, about the policies that ripple outward to the rest of the country, about the example the nation sets, then put your boots on and get into the arena. Now. Because the socialists are playing for keeps. It's time the rest of the voters did too. So it's that time of the week again where we look at our headline roundup, a quick fire tour of stories you need to know, and occasionally why you might want to care. First off, China issues its first batch of streamlined rare earth export licenses. That's right, China's loosening up slightly on their rare earth exports, issuing its first set of general licenses to speed things along. Now, of course, rare earths are essential for everything from your smartphone to Tesla batteries, and essentially China is holding. Our second headline, the Trump administration has halted all asylum decisions and pauses visas for Afghan nationals. This is, of course, in response to that horrible the feds have hit pause on all asylum claims and Afghan visa processing. And our third and final headline for this week, it's Elon Musk again. We do like talking about him. Now he's saying that his Optimus robots will build themselves in self-replicating factories, and he promises that a robot factory that can churn out more robots, essentially robots breeding robots. Now this is the type of sci-fi thing that could either revolutionize manufacturing, or it just might give you nightmares about your Roomba taking over your garage. So there you have it for this week. A little bit of Thanksgiving chaos, a little bit of comment section logic, even a look at one of the opposition party's political strategy, and the weirdness of the week all rolled into one. Survive the absurd, think before you believe, vote where it counts, and remember, somewhere between the mashed potatoes and the snowstorm, reality still has a sense of humor.